It is Woodbine Racing Live for a Monday night. Usually on Mondays, when it's kind of a damp night, you're thinking football season. Monday Night Football, that's always a classic. But on a Monday night, springtime, this is where you want to be. It is Woodbine Racing Live from Woodbine Mohawk Park, and we're very excited to bring you coverage of our feature race of the evening, which goes as the preferred trots. If you go back to last weekend, we saw some sparkling performances. Caviar and Crackers never been better than she is right now. She got up to pull off an upset in the filly and mare preferred. And Brew Hanover, the train just keeps chugging along. And Brew Hanover went right to the front, made every call a winning one, and was victorious. What will happen tonight? Will it be Logan Park? Will it be Gaines Hanover? We'll talk about that more in depth with Randy Waples coming up a little bit later on. Our intrepid investigator, one Chad Rosenmike, gave you a little bit of an interesting tidbit. This will be the last starts in North America for Logan Park before we hand over to Sweden for the Elite Lot. But it leaves, we understand, on Friday, and we want to wish his connections all the best of luck, but some unfinished business right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. What will the miles be like tonight? What will the track conditions be like for our racing program? Will we get the rain that they're calling for, or will it wait until the program wraps up? And will my beloved Toronto Maple Leafs continue to break my heart? Those stories and more here on Woodbine Racing Live. Let's bring in the Hall of Famer, that being Randy Waples, on the program here for tonight. Mr. Waples, what is going on with the handle as of late? Have you been betting your Pick 5 tickets? 2.9 on Friday, 3.1 on Saturday.
I don't know, but that was quite a little soliloquy there you put on there going into the show. I'm telling you, very nice.
Well, thank you.
People from the Emmys are looking, you might want to,
Canadian Screen Actors Awards.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm going to win. That's what I'm going to win. Yes.
What do the Canadians call them? Jemmies or
something?
something?
Like that. Yeah. I think they got changed to Canadian Screen Actors Awards. But no, terrific handle. Again, thank you to all the handicappers for helping us out, because I was watching the races on Saturday. I got home late from Woodbine after watching the Derby, and I thought I would tune in. We saw some great performances in those Canadian Classic Series races. And I'm watching the race. I'm looking at one of the handles. I was like, holy cow. Because I always think, by the time the Kentucky Derby runs, nobody has any money left.
Right, yeah. Or they're bored.
Yeah. But man, kudos to everybody for helping us have a great night at the office.
It was. I mean, I don't necessarily think that, how much we, probably Blanchard had a lot to do with it. You know what I mean?
The key, yeah.
But to the same effect, though, too, and you brought it up at lunch, along with the fact that once again, Chad couldn't find, had the alligator arms going there when he was reaching for the wallet. But you brought it up at lunch. So even the short fields on Saturday night were good races.
Yeah.
Quality. It was just quality racing on Saturday night. And I've always been a believer that if you have good racing, the people will play it. And we had great racing. And the drivers raced it. It was really good racing.
And you know what, too? Like, we all know the story behind Fun Time by Alma. I was really happy for the horse on Saturday. And I wasn't sure James was going to get out, but he did. And could be a good year for him.
Well, the other thing, too, is I think that he is the only horse that has gotten star of the card 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, he got it on this elimination when he got beat. Well, we had to give it him in the final.
Well, you know what's funny, too? Whenever I'm working with you, it's Bob McClure gets star of the card.
Seems like Bob is really, heavy on the star of the card right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know I was watching a thing last night, and the Hollywood Walk of Fame where you get a star on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Do you know if you accept that star, you have to pay them $50,000 for the upkeep of that star, like for the rest of for a lifetime of upkeep on the star.
So wait a second. You're giving me an award, and I got to pay to
You got to pay to have the upkeep done on it. $50,000, my friend. Not maybe shoot me 100 here.
But most people that win that, they can afford.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about the weather a little bit now, because we keep waiting for, to have a lengthy stretch of sunshine, and the forecast does look good for that coming up after, I think, Tuesday. The track, it's been a tough go. We saw some good miles, but hopefully the rain does subside. The one thing that I've been so impressed with, though, Randy, is just the miles that these horses have been putting up, like just sparkling times.
Well, I think obviously that has a lot to do with the track itself.
Yeah.
Because the weather hasn't exactly cooperated with us for speed. We've seen a little bit of heat, now and again, but we've also had some really heavy air out there. One night it's warm out there, the next night it's cold out there, all the rain and everything else. But one consistent about these miles being quick and horses racing good, horses coming back on a 7-day rotation is the fact that the track is extra good. So to me, the biggest pat on the back goes to the Woodbine Mohawk track crew.
We're going to take a look at our qualifying report coming up a little bit later on. When do you see horses qualifying 51 and change? change. We had that this morning. So, I mean, that was a lifetime mark for a horse, not necessarily a qualifier.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's get to replays in here. Lisa Germaini does a great job rolling our replays. She always loves when you send in like 20 replays. Keeps everybody on our toes in here. And we've got a lengthy list of replays we're going to take a look at in here. And we'll start off with race number 1. And this is the start of the pick 5 with the pool guaranteed here tonight at $75,000. And this, to me, my friend, is the old spreadaroo race, because I do not have a definitive opinion in this event by any means. And the top board echoes our sentiments. Who is that in the picture there, producer Luke? Just a random film editor. Just looking like, should I get Randy to play that part? He's saying to himself. I guess my question to you to start off is the current favorite, Tregarin. Do you think, because remember Scotty chose a fadeaway Hanover in that last race. A fadeaway race, great, but got beat. Do you think that Tregarin got enough out of that comeback race?
Yeah, I think so. I think he pretty well had enough when he came up here. You know what I mean? But I think that there was an opportunity for Scott to drive the other horse, have Mario look after this guy, knowing full well that Mario's not going to do anything dumb that he shouldn't be doing. You know, Bob knows that. Mario's a great horseman, great driver, and I think that, the betting board has it right. I think Tregarin will absolutely annihilate them. And I'm a big fan of PL Robert G.
Yep.
Not sure that he's going to be coming in here with a little bit of a stale date. Not much. April the 18th is going to be his last, charted mile. Got him in for second. But this Tregarin, this is a really, really top quality horse, I think. And I think that Mario really did right by him. A lot of people are going to say, well, he didn't really do a whole lot. He only finished 6th. But that's not the point. The point is that when you go into a race like this with a horse like him and you don't do a whole lot, he's not going to come out of this race tired. And that is the biggest thing where you're going to gain an advantage, is don't bring them out of the race tired until you have to bring them out of the race tired. Kind of along the lines of Dalton on Roadhouse. You're going to be nice until I tell you not to be nice. Well, the same as this thing. Don't do anything until the money's on the line and you have to do anything. You know what I mean? He was in a spot, first start off the bench, trucking up from Florida. He did what he had to do with him. If the horse had been, unbelievably good, he still could have got up for a big piece of it, but I don't think he was. So that's what I mean. I think Mario did right by the horse, and by not overdoing it, he's going to be that much better 7 days later. Not to mention the fact that I'm a big fan of the camp that he comes out of to boot. Bob Young's one of those, kind of incredible kind of trainers there that almost talks horse, I guess you could put it. But Tregarin, the way I'm going to go, I just don't see how he would get beat in here. I really don't.
I had the pleasure of meeting PL Robert G when I walked in today, and I had to catch up with Katie Huskinson, and she said, don't worry, I'll wave to you when I go out towards the racetrack. That's what she does every time out. And I just marveled at the change in style the horse had last time. I realize we're facing tougher tonight, but maybe they figure something out.
Little bit of a staler date.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's going to get quite the swing of the gate, like from the 8-hole where he can snap him out of there quite as good, from the inside. But one thing I will tell you is there's not going to be anybody coming out of this paddock with a better smile on their face than Katie Huskinson. She has got the smile of all smiles.
Let's get to race number 2 on the program in here. This is the feature. This is the preferred. The only one I'm kind of missing is Amigo Volo. I'm not sure what's up with him right now, but other than that, the big stars are here. Even Fashion Frenzy with the still date raced great last time out. Gaines Hanover, I think, goes off as the favorite. What do you think?
Who's going to be doing it? Like in my wagering thing, he's the favorite.
Yeah.
Whether he does or not, I mean, Logan Park's got a big following.
I know.
And I think a lot of people are looking at it, as well. He hasn't beat Logan Park. Well, get ready, because I think it could happen tonight. This Gaines Hanover has come back unbelievably well. And the other thing is that they had to go searching for a driver for Gaines Hanover. I think Sylvan was driving this guy last year, Yeah,
I remember we talked with Bob at Livewire, and he got a call up from the Turcotte barn and said, will you commit? And he said, sure.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you right now, this horse here, I think he's probably going to stamp himself by the end of the year as the O'Brien winner up here in Canada. What he does Grand Circuit wise, I don't know. I mean, and he's going to have to do it too, because Logan Park is no slouch. And when he gives up a week to Logan Park, I'm pretty sure Logan Park can beat him. But if they come in across on the same rotation, I think that this horse is going to have a little bit of an advantage. You know what I mean? I just love his racing style. There's no end to him. He just keeps coming. Not to say that Logan Park doesn't have a great racing style as well. He can make his own way. He can leave. He can cut it. He can race on any size of track, whatever. So that's all good and that. But this guy, he can just sit back and wait for other things to happen and then still able to capitalize on. He's got huge movement on the end of it. And I would have to think that, I got a feeling that probably Kyle Fellows and his dad, Rob, and I've known Rob a long time. I got a feeling they zeroed in pretty good on Gaines Park last week. Mm-hmm. They know that their horse is not going to have an easy run at it this year. He's going to have to be that much better, But to the same effect, you were saying this is going to be the last time we get to see Logan Park.
And don't forget, Logan Park, no Lasix for the second consecutive time. Mm-hmm. And I imagine they're doing that because you can't race on it in Sweden, I would think. What about, let me nitpick a little bit, the drifting with Gaines Hanover. Any cause for concern there?
No.
No, okay.
No, not at all. I think that McClure's going to really, really have himself a big year with Gaines Hanover.
Yeah, the way he's going right now, he's going to win every race. It seems like Bobby, the way he's going right now. Race number 3, let's talk about some pacers in here. And we're going to go for a purse of $15,000, non-winners of $6,700 our last 5 starts. One thing that Randy and I like to do, we're kind of goofy in a lot of ways, but we love to compare picks when we come in, and we have a lot of different picks tonight, which is great, because if we all pick like 7 of the 11 races or 12 races the same, that means it's probably going to be a fairly formful program. But the one thing that is somewhat consistent in this race is we're both trying to beat Hungry Man. We respect the horse, but we're both going in different directions.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we make our picks as a couple of days out.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this shoeing change come in just a little bit late. Now, if this shoeing change had to come in, before our pick time, I don't know if I wouldn't have, because I got Hungry Man in for second, and I think going from steel to aluminum up in front is enough of a story to tell you what they're going to do with this horse, which basically is, I would think, be forwardly spotted when the gate leaves. They don't usually go to aluminum shoes to take them back, so he is going to be in for second. But Army Captain Hanover, I really think that this guy has raced great twice in a row, but we are going to show you the last race on him when maybe everybody out there will think that he raced just as good as I did, because I think this last race was good. But even the start before, he had the 10-hole, sat way back, and made big gains on the end of it. Now this week, he makes a small leaving move out of there, has the 7-hole, gets away third, but now the move on the end of it is even bigger. And last half in 54-4, last quarter 27 flat for Army Captain Hanover and Trevor Henry. And that's another thing that I really like about this. Trevor is coming back. He finds a seam right here in between Eddie and James, and it looks like he's going to be able to get the job done, but just falls short. And I mean just falls short too.
Wow.
So huge effort there by Army Captain Hanover, coming back to his best post position yet after those two races. And I like him in here. What about you? Where'd you go?
So in the winner of that race, by the way, was dropping significantly in class too, and beat this one. I went towards Pipe Wrench Charlie because Randy and I and Chad during lunch, like we go to lunch, we talk racing the whole time. That's what we do. But anyways, the one thing, and Randy brought up this point, that Team Cullen, the one thing that they do so well is spotting horses, and they get into a way easier spot here today, Randy. You look at who the horse raced against last time out. There are no wheels on fires in this race.
No.
There are no Colby two-steps in this race. I think this is kind of where he belongs as far as I'm concerned.
It's a much easier class, and like I said, I think we all agree on the fact that Travis and Jody Cullen do a phenomenal job of classifying their horses where they are good. So I would have to think that Piper and Charlie's going to be pretty good in here tonight.
4th race on the program. I guess it's a question of, do you go with Mars Hill? Do you think Mars Hill got enough of that comeback race, or do you think that Ghostly Casper is a little bit tighter going into this event? Or, speaking of Team Cullen, do you think Nazy is able to finally jump up a little bit? And you've got my buddy Sam, you've got Penn and Teller Hanover, who's razor sharp right now, moving up in class. You've got Perfetto. What an interesting race to talk about here in the 4th.
I think that if Ghostly Casper wasn't in this race, you could all this race.
Yeah.
It's so competitive, and I think you would, more or less catch a price. But I honestly think that Ghostly Casper's the horse to beat. I don't think that he's far from being a top preferred, or maybe even being the top preferred horse. He has got some serious ability as a racehorse, and it usually comes at the end of the mile, but they can race him different ways if they want. I know he doesn't show any chops here, that way, but they can. Well, yeah, he does. He does show the one qualifier where he chopped in 57, but he can move out of there. He can remove to the front. There's a lot to like about Ghostly Casper. I think that this is a really nice fit for him. But we do have a replay to show you, and it's not going to be Ghostly Casper. It's going to be about another horse that you brought up, and that's going to be the 4-horse Ninsky. Every once in a while, I kind of like to show what I would consider to be maybe a troubled trip, because sometimes these troubled trips can turn into, a situation where you can get a horse at a big price. Penn and Teller Hanover moving up in class. He's going to be logistical. Ghostly Casper coming down, but only the few starts, coming back. So let's take a look at Travis Cullen and Ninsky. And again, look at the movement on the end of this guy. He knows he cannot pick off McNair at this point, but he also knows he's going to go by, and look at the body language on him. This is the first time he asks him to trot, and look at him shoot forward from James on to Dougie. I think that he knew he could only be second, and I think it was a measured second, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say about Travis Cullen. He's a phenomenal horse manager too, and it's not just the fact, not everybody can do that. He's a bit of a throwback, going back into the times where people trained and drove their own. Ron Waples, Keith Waples, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He's a catch driver, yes, but I think he's more horseman than catch driver. I think he can jump up, get a lot out of a horse, but I think that he is more horseman.
You know what he's like? And you never see these anymore, but they used to have what are called player managers in sports, where they would play and they'd be the manager at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Babe Ruth did that.
Yeah. So I just think that's kind of what he's like. And he's obviously a very talented driver. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, that's kind of what he's like when it comes to his own barn in here. So I'm terrified of Penn and Teller Hanover. Like, this horse might get us in here today because I don't think he's ever been as good as he is right now. Now, I realize he does have to face tougher tonight. But
but we haven't seen close to the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with you.
Let's get to the fifth now on the program as we get set to wrap up the Pick 5 here today. And I am taking a bit of a stance. If you've watched the show on a regular basis, I avoid post 10 like it's the plague. I try to avoid, if I see post 10, I run as fast as I can. It's like those scary movies when they just scare you. It's post 10. But yet, B. Stoney, more often than not, is kind of the kingpin of this division. Now, I realized last time it didn't go all that well, but I'm hoping that we get a bit more of an aggressive approach here today. So that's why I'm going to go towards B. Stoney. And you know what, too, Randy? I think because of the draw, he gets a little bit forgotten here tonight. And I think he goes off at a better price than maybe he should be. So I'm going to take a shot with him, despite the draw.
I got him in for second, and I think that is such a logical way that you're looking at it, because a perfect example, Garnet Barnsdale doesn't even have him in his journal.
Yeah.
So my guess is yes, you are going to catch a price on him. And as long as the form is still there, I mean, this could end up being a great selection. Like I said, I got him in for the deuce. We are going to show you a replay, though, of my top selection in here. And I thought that this horse was unbelievably good last week as well. And that's going to be the 4-horse, How Mac Victor. So let's take a look at this replay, Jeffrey, and you tell me what you think. So Bobby McClure driving for Corey Giles. Corey Giles had a big win here the other night. Louis Waugh driving. Can't remember the name of the horse, but changed to all aluminum all around. And that change came in a little bit late. Look at Mr. McClure in the 2-hole here. Jeff, tell me if you think he's got any go. Now, I know the horse hasn't raced since then, but I don't think it's any problems, anything. Look at this horse right here. I don't think it's a matter that he didn't have any go. I just think he had go and nowhere to go. Look at Bobby. I mean, this is like a fishtail and going on right here. And if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think they're going to show it on the run out, but I was outside when they did come, and you're not going to see it here, I don't think, but Bobby was shaking his head at himself pretty good. Not the up and down either, the side to side, So I don't think he was happy with where the overall result, So now he's had a week off for whatever reason, 10 days off, and now he's coming back. I, like you, am going to take a stand. You're taking a stand from the 10-hole with a logical horse that you could get a price that you haven't been able to get a price on. I'm going to go How Mac Victor, thinking that it was a locked-in journey, and he can be a lot better tonight.
I love it. You got J.J. Tommy, who's razor sharp right now. You've got Dirty Little Piglet. I remember... Was I working with you last time this horse raced? April 28th, or was it Lisa? I can't remember. No, I think it was you and I. It was you and I were working together. And he came onto the racetrack, and you said... Look how good this guy looks. And he went so good in that race. And of all horses, Dirty Little Piglet stops the tell timer in 51-1. Now, in thoroughbred racing, there's that balance factor. Do you think the horse maybe regresses here a little bit tonight?
No, I don't think so
Just
at
think
all.
it's a tougher spot?
Yeah, much tougher spot, But I mean, again, though, how many times have we talked about this? I have no problem supporting a horse coming up in class if the form's coming with him. And right now, he's never been on better form, Dirty Little Piglet. And the thing is that I don't see a bounce is because of the 38 starts last year. I think he's got enough miles underneath his belt that he's probably not going to do too much of a bounce in there. But if you said earlier on that Gaines Hanover, would he be a single if you're playing a pick 5? Could this be an all?
Yeah, I got 2 singles. I got Ghostly Casper as a single, and this will be a spread every race for me.
Yeah. See, this to me, I alled this one in my pick 5 because I think that it can go so many different ways, and you may catch a price.
Yeah, you for sure could. And listen, I respect Helmac Victor a ton too, but what do I often say about troubled handicappers' trips? They sometimes get a little bit overbet. Right?
Yes.
So
right.
Okay, a little bit tight for time, so we'll pick it up in here. We got 3 minutes to get through this. No problem. We'll get this done. We're going to hit the post perfectly here, I promise you. Race 6 in here. We've got a field of 9, and let's touch on the 3 Bella Cavalla. The one thing that I find very, very interesting about this particular horse is Billy Davis or James McDonald usually always drives this horse, and now it's Wah.
Well, Wah used to drive her quite a bit, and Louis got along with her really, really good, and that's the exact reason why I'm going back to her. I think she raced good for Billy in her last start. I mean, you can see it. She hasn't been showing anything close to 28 seconds on the end of it, and all of a sudden, boom, last week she rattles off this last quarter in 28 seconds. It stands out like it stands out like Randy's chin, So I'm going to go with her because now all of a sudden Louis is able to get back up on her, and he does get along quite well with Bella Cavalla. So I'm going to go with her. But we are going to show you a replay, but we're going to show you the replay of the 7 horse in here, Devil's Arch. Now, this horse, I think, Jeff, is a really, really nice horse. And I mean a really nice horse. Maybe not to the style of a Paquette or something like that way, but I think that this is in trotting world, it's a Monday night special.
Yeah.
Pacing, it's a Saturday night special. But anyway, here's his qualifier. I think that any time that this horse is sound and he is ready to go. That's how much faith I have in this guy. Only 15 starts last year, only 4 starts to work with this year. When he first started his career out, it was break after break after break, but somewhere along the line, at the age of just turning 5 years old, he's got 123,000 put away, and down on the inside, no movement by Jamison whatsoever. He looked to me like he just knew exactly how much he wanted to go with him, show him a little bit of speed on the end of it to get the lungs opened up a little bit. I think he's good to go with in here, so I'm going to throw him in as part of my exactor.
Mission accomplished. Clean line. They got it. Now they're in to go.
Got it. Let's go.
Let's go. Don't get paid anything in the morning where you finish. Race 11. This will be the last one that we take a look at in here. And poor Bayfield Beach. We were talking about this horse in the pop-up final, and we're thinking, he's going to have a lot of things to go right for him to win. And he actually got some fireworks up front in that event, and Harry G was able to capitalize. But let's go back to Bayfield Beach. And what did you make of the trip last time?
I thought it was a really, really good one for him. And the big thing, too, is I got 2 horses that came out of the same race that, in my opinion, one race just as good as the other. One is the 2-horse Better of the West. He ended up finishing second in this race. The other one, the 4-horse Bayfield Beach. He ends up finishing third in this race. Now, Harry G just gets a McDonald magic drive here and splits horses late and gets the win. But really, the race itself came down to Better of the West, Bayfield Beach. I would have said that Better of the West got the advantage of Bayfield Beach in that race. But to the same effect, though, too, Bayfield Beach is bringing a lot of back class into this race, and I'm a big believer in back class. 573,000, 23 lifetime wins with this guy. Better of the West got a real nice speed badge, but 17 lifetime wins, $257,000. I think there's a tail of the tape there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Bayfield Beach. Billy Davis knows him very, very well. Billy had a nice win Saturday night. I almost actually had I think he might have had 2 or got awful close to having 2 as well. So big night for him. He seems to be doing really, really well. So Bayfield Beach is going to be the way that I go, but close second to Better of the West.
I owe producer Luke about 60 seconds of my life. For Luke, I apologize for that. I'm just having fun with you, producer Luke. But, I went towards Southwind Zambuca, got really cooked in that vicious pace scenario last time out. So
I threw him in for 4th, and the reason why is because he got into that vicious speed. I think that if he can come out of that race, and it's going to make him stronger.
Okay, Waples, let's talk about your early pick 5 ticket. You've put together one for us in here, and we're going to take a look at it for you right now. And this is, okay, I got to do my math quickly. So you got 60 combinations, so $12 for 20 cents. I like it in here, and you do have a couple of keys. You see this sequence the same way I do, as a matter of fact, which I don't know is good news or bad news for you, but we see it the same way.
Yeah, I could go a little cheaper on the all. There's a couple that I maybe could leave out of there and maybe bring the price down. But, you know, sometimes I find with that, Jeff, the one horse that you leave off is the one that beats you.
All the time.
Yes, so I'm going to go all on that. So in the first race, I'm going to go 3 deep, 3, 5, and 6. PL Robert G, my friend Jose, that was huge last week for Herbie and Billy Davis, and Tregarin. I think that Tregarin's going to be my top pick in there. Race number 2, it's going to be a single on Gaines. Race 3, I'm going to go 2 deep. It's going to be Army Captain Hanover, and what I would consider to be the favorite and the one to beat, Hungry Man, in there. Race 4, single with Ghostly Casper, and race number 5, it's going to be the all button.
Couple of singles, one all burger button pressed, courtesy of the Hall of Famer Randy Waples as well. So let's look at his ticket. Best of luck with how you see it. Now, when I saw, so the qualifier entries come out usually the day before the qualifiers, or a couple of days out ahead of time. When I saw Ninsky was qualifying, I said, Jeff, don't watch it. Don't watch it until you get to watch it with Randy. So I'm going to watch it with you for the first time today. So this is his second qualifier. He was driven with a purpose not to overly extend himself, I thought, in his first qualifier.
Very
but
much.
Today, they kind of went down the road, it looks like. And we're going to take a look at the qualifying report for you right now. And here's a look at Ninsky, our Pepsi North America Cup winner from last season. And here we go. I'm so excited to see this. Oh, boy. Louis has got the pedal pressed, Mr. Waples, in here. And look at this. Final quarter, 25-4, time 51-4. And you were mentioning to us at lunchtime, but you don't think this horse really touches the track as much as you think. Kind of has a bit of a floating way of going to him.
Could producer Luke slow this rate down?
We can maybe do it.
Can
We'll
you
recue
that and bring him as slow as producer Luke can? Because I swear, especially the pan, I really, in the last 8th, wait till he gets to the start pole, Luke, and then slow it right down. Because I swear sometimes this guy, all 4 feet are off the ground all at the same time. I swear he's like Pegasus out there. So right around here, Luke, you can start to slow it down. Go as slow as you can.
Oh, look at that. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. His fold, it's almost, sometimes I find with him, he looks like Michael Jordan when he was doing the airness, it seems to me like sometimes he floats, like all 4 of them are folding at the same time. They're up underneath him, and, his momentum is just pushing him through the air. He's one of the lightest horses on his feet that I've ever seen in my life, which goes along good with the guy sitting behind him because he's got some of the lightest hands I've ever seen. So this should end up being a pretty good combination. Thanks for that, Luke.
No, that's great. That's a great visual because, when you think about it and you watch it live, you think, well, at some point, all the legs are touching the track at some point. But that's not the case, as you said in there. And judging by that, I'd be very surprised if they qualified him again. I think he's good to go.
I think he's good to go.
Yeah.
I don't care what race that he's in to go. Now, to the same effect, there's a good one coming back real soon out of Maneri Camp called Irvin Hanover. And he can, you know what I mean? This is a 47 pacer too. So this is going to be no cakewalk for Ninsky, but boy, oh boy, what he accomplished last year and the way he looks going into this year.
It's good, promising for sure. We'll talk a little stats now for you. This is our stats pack as we look back as to who has had the hot hand and is hoping to keep the roll going, as we like to see. Dave Maneri is probably doing very well in the trainer's way, but I'm thinking Bobby McClure is on top. There he is. Boy, he doubled everybody.
Whoa,
that is a massive week. 32.6 win % average.
Yeah, and my father, I know my dad, if he's sitting at home right now, he'd look even further down to that earnings of 246. That would be the part that would most enthuse him. He always told me there's 2 columns on the back of a program page. One means nothing and one means a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
And wow, what a big earning period. Jody moving up into a tie with James, and Tyler Borth, also up there with 5 wins. He was also had a star of the card last week as well.
14-pack, won 5 on one day, did Bobby McClure. And now we'll take a look at the trainers. These pitchers tend to be the same, although Carl made it on. That's nice. Oh, and look at Ben, too. I like it.
There we go.
I like Carl's picture there with the NA Cup trophy. That is one of the best trophies in horse racing.
It's a beautiful trophy.
I think it really is.
It is. It is absolutely gorgeous trophy. Yeah, big move. Pretty well all, Dave up on top with 4 wins, but Kyle and Carl right in there with 3, and Benny Benoit in there with 2, so not far out of it. But the real picture is the Carl Jamieson 50% win average. Boy, talk about starting your year off good.
I feel bad for one of Ben's horses, Sid the Kid. Like, horse is racing unbelievably well and just can't face the monster and beat that one, you know?
No. I remember seeing an interview one time with Rick Ziron, and he told somebody that he went through 4 horses chasing Sandpail.
Yeah.
And Paquette could do the same thing to a lot of horses. He could sour them because they can go all they can thinking that they're going to beat them, and all of a sudden this guy just sails on by. Yeah. It's going to be tough on a horse's confidence.
It is. And you just got to hope that eventually you get into this class relief, or maybe the other horse has a bad day at the office. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't kick Sid the Kid out of my barn, I'll tell you that much.
No, I'll say for sure. Nice horse.
Okay, yeah, beautiful horse. So that's a look at our stats pack here. Fireworks nights. Often we have them on the desk when we're handicapping and we're trying to, argue things out a little bit.
I had them every night in the driver's room.
That's right. See, that would be some good TV. But, so it's free admission. It's Saturday, May the 17th. Doors open at 5 p.m. And we'll have the programming. Traditionally, we start a little bit earlier on the night, and we kind of fly through the races, and then you can get the fireworks underway. And it really is, can't beat the price. I mean, and it really is a great show. And not only do we have fireworks, we have the light show that producer Luke is going to engineer.
Beautiful. I don't know what's more fun on the night, the fireworks or the look on the kids' faces.
Yeah.
That to me is the best part of the whole thing. Boy, oh boy, it's a lot of fun, seeing the kids here and watch them fireworks.
Yeah. And even that, I think kids and horses have a special relationship too. When kids see horses, they're just sort of in awe of how big they are and, what they can do and stuff like that too. So yeah, fireworks night, always a bit of a highlight for me. And we'd still have, in the not too distant future, probably next month, elims for the NA Cup, which is crazy.
And baby races soon.
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Plays of the night. Let's take a look at those. And Randy, you're going to go lead off in here. I think we have maybe some overlapping. We'll take a look at exactly what you've got for us here. And you'll start off with a couple of 6s. Yeah,
I was going to go with Gaines Hanover in race number 2 and follow that right up in race number 3 with Army Captain Hanover. Waples Watch is going to come along in race number 11. That's going to be Bayfield Beach. I do think that he's sitting on a big winning effort there. And worth a look is going to be Crystal Baller, who I had up on top in his last start, but then he was Judge's Transportation. So I know that he's coming in here with a little bit of a stale date, but I still think he's going to be good to go.
Possibly, and gets a beautiful draw here today, post position number 5. My new style, new horse, is PL Robert G. I just love the fact they changed things up. Now, whether they're as aggressive tonight with the move up in class, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping they figured something out with that one. My multi-leg single, I'm with you on Gaines Hanover. I've got 2 of them. Goes to Casper. And going fast in the 7th, this horse never saw the pylons last week, was parked the entire mile. And I think going fast will be going very fast at the end of this mile, my friends.
Yeah, well, I know we were doing plays of the night of who's going to have the biggest smile. I'm going to go a single with Katie Huskinson.
Yeah, that's true. Ghislaine Paquette says Coastal Caspers is ready to go. Johnny Rallis, Century Jaguar, coming up in race 6.
Out of the 9-hole.
Yes.
Nice.
And off of a qualifier as well for Team Henry. And Blue Hunt, that's going to be Garnett's spot play coming up in race number 9. Blue Hunt.
He could take the majority of the wagering in there.
Did not have a great trip last time out either.
But he gets his regular sweater back.
That's true. I like that regular sweater. I like that. That's good. Well, I got 22 seconds to play with in here. What else can we talk about?
The fact that Chad's alligator arms, that's always worthwhile.
Didn't pay the tab, but he's going to be standing by calling all the races here tonight.
I got something that I'd like to throw out there. I'd like to put out the fact that since I think it's going to be 2 years come December that I've been working on this show.
Wow.
And I'm going to come right back to the same thing there, man. I think you guys are like the 80s Oilers. What a dynasty. I'm not kidding you, really. So I work with Chad, I work with Jeff, I work with Elise, and I work with the other Saturday night, I work with Greg Blanchard. I mean, you guys are sickening. Then you throw into the fact that you bring in the Kenny Middletons and everybody else that came from that era, Chris Connor, it's just you must just shake your head sometimes at the talent that was there then.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Randy. I really, really do. But we've been very lucky. They're great people too.
Yes.
Which is the best part,
behind scenes as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just amazing when you get to work with these people. You get to do it all the time. It's only been 2 years for me.
No, it's cool.
I got to keep pinching myself once in a while.
You've done very, very well. So kudos to you. And you're my new agent. Randy Waples, my new agent. Any business inquiries, contact Randy Waples. When we come back, with you all set for the opener. The first of 12 coming up. 12-pack on a Monday. Should be a lot of fun. We'll have the opener for you coming up next.